Hey everybody, it's me, Jill, and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 15, Episode 2, Tequila Truth Serum. All right, guys, we got the new taglines, and they're just as bad as ever. Honestly, the only one I really like for this season is Elizabeth's. Anyway, we start with Kelly. Honestly, hers annoys me because of the social media stuff, but whatever. This is Kelly's. Don't judge me by what I do. In fact, don't judge me at all. Yeah, good luck with that, Kel, because we are all judging you. Also, I happen to notice in the background, it's just Jolie and her dogs. Not sure why there's no Rick Leventhal. It's not like he doesn't want to film because he was in the first episode. Next is Bronwyn's, and it's pretty cringy. Cheers to bad choices. Which also, you guys, did you notice that is in neon across one entire wall of that nightclub in her house? Anyway, hers is cheers to bad choices and then making better ones. I mean, at least she's making better ones now. Gina, those who live in small houses should definitely throw stones. Huh? I don't get it. I mean, I know the phrase people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, but I don't understand why she's saying those who live in small houses should definitely throw stones. Maybe because she's been criticized for living in her small house, and so she should definitely be retaliating or sticking up for herself. You know, if you have to think that hard about it, it's not a good tagline. Also, why is she wearing season 14 hair in this? Your hair looks so much better now, Gina. I hope it's not because she was thinner, because I'm telling you, even with the extra weight, which is still not by any stretch is she overweight, she looks so much better. I would not allow my season 14 hair to ever be seen outside of season 14 if I were Gina. Next is Emily. Life is full of beautiful curves, and so am I. At least she embraces hers. Gina needs to embrace her curves. Side note, the older daughter here, which is Shane's from a previous marriage, is the spitting image of his sister Shireen. I mean, I'm not implying anything. Sister wives. No, you know I kid. But she looks just like his sister, I think. Okay, now we have Elizabeth's, which, you know, now that I said it's my favorite, don't expect too much. I earned my money the old-fashioned way, marrying it and then making more. Now that I say it out loud, it's not that great. At first I thought, well, that's cute. Maybe it was just in comparison to the others that I thought it was good. And finally, we have Shannon. I closed one door and opened a new one. Side note, Shannon looks like a ghost here. I'm not loving that her hair and her dress are the same color as her skin. All right, well, this week opens with, well, let's just say if you were wondering if there was any love lost between Emily and Vicky and Tamra, wonder no further, there is not. We open at Kelly's old beach house. She's in the process of moving into her new home in Shannon's neighborhood, and Emily is over visiting Kelly. And Kelly said, "Guess who's been calling me?" And Emily said, "Who?" And she goes, "Shannon." Emily, why? Because her two asshole friends are gone? Well, alrighty. They both feel like they can't really trust Shannon. We see a montage of all the ups and downs that Kelly and Shannon have had. It's kind of funny because they are just some knockdown, drag out, like horrible things. Kelly talks to her about the hair on her chin and then, "I'm sorry, I just came to apologize." So that was kind of funny. But yeah, in the end, they both say that they can't really trust her and that they think she's a follower and that she's been very influenced by Tamra and Vicky. The next scene is at Elizabeth's beach house. And oh, you guys, it is so beautiful that I need someone to explain to me why they are filming in this tiny little alcove. Her mom and her brother and his daughters are visiting from out of town, and her boyfriend Jimmy is also there, but they're all crammed in this tiny little, it looks like a 6-foot wide little alcove. I don't get it. It's like somebody said, okay, let's put a couple couches in the hallway and do the scene here instead of in your gorgeous, probably enormous living room. So weird. Speaking of weird, Jimmy, guys, what's your verdict? Yay, nay? I am not feeling him. I'm not entirely sure why, and I don't know what he does for a living. I don't know anything about him other than the fact that he won't have sex with Elizabeth. Let's move on. I'm not even sure what this scene is for, because we are just reestablishing the fact that Elizabeth grew up very, very poor. I mean, we've only seen her twice, and in both times she's told us how poor she was when she grew up. So I mean, I could only imagine it's kind of a glass castle situation. Side note, you guys, if you have not read that book, you have to. They did make a movie of it with Woody Harrelson and Brie Larson, but I am recommending the book. It's so good. Anyway, they show us this adorable picture of her and her brothers when they were little kids, and then another picture of them when they were teens with two other kids who are blurred out, and a humongous bag of something called sauce cubes. I don't know what sauce cubes are. I hope that's not what they were eating, because there's like a plate on the step below the sauce cubes. Honestly, even if it's dog food, sauce cubes? I don't know what that is. Like in my mind, I'm thinking of like bouillon cubes or something, but this has got to be a 65-pound bag of them. It's huge. Maybe it's like a regional thing. I don't know. Anybody from Missouri, the Ozarks, or anywhere, well, I'm Midwest too, but anywhere in the Midwest that may have heard of sauce cubes, could you let me know? Elizabeth tells us about when she first met Jimmy. She was at a club and she wanted the hottest, tallest guy there. Well, maybe she got the tallest. I am going to feel so bad if he turns out to be a wonderful man. I already feel bad because I don't know what he's like. But there is a part of me that hopes that he's a jerk, because then it will sort of justify how mean I am being to this man. Anyway, Elizabeth is half Mexican. Her name is Elizabeth Vargas, not the woman on ABC News or wherever she is. Not that Elizabeth Vargas. Her father was Mexican, and he never taught them how to speak Spanish when they were growing up because he thought that it would be a detriment to them, that they would be shunned. And so Jimmy, he's Mexican. I guess he's kind of teaching her to speak Spanish and connect her to her heritage. The next scene is with Sean and Bronwyn, and they're all dressed up and they're going to a restaurant for dinner. It's Valentine's Day, and they talk about how it's very different than last year's Valentine's Day. And then we get a little flashback to last Valentine's Day at the Love Shack. You know, that extra little condo that they own where she had like rose petals on the floor and she was in sexy lingerie when he came over. It was creepy. I'm so much happy that they're just having dinner this year. But, you know, it's a little bittersweet for them because Bronwyn is not drinking. She tells Sean, at first he said no, he won't have anything to drink either. And she's like, don't do that. Please, it makes it worse for me. So he's like, okay. So the waiter came back and he ordered a drink. They talk about how it got to where it was. And he said, yeah, I guess maybe I just kind of let it happen. And she said, why did you just let it happen? Okay, Missy, let's not blame others, but whatever. He said, I don't know. I think I always want to make you happy. And also, I got kind of caught up in it a little bit myself. So I thought that was a fair thing to say. Sadly, Bronwyn is afraid that she's going to lose friends now because she thinks that if she's not the good time girl, life of the party anymore, that people aren't going to want to be around her. I mean, that's really sad. The reality is, I think that when you're in the throes of like acting crazy and stuff like that, I think your perception of how fun you are is skewed. I never gravitate toward the person at the party who is drunk on their ass. That's not the person I want to hang out with. I want to hang out with the girls in the corner who might be a little tipsy, but lucid enough to be making smart jokes and comments and stuff like that. Like, those are my people. We check in with Shannon Bador. She is having a meeting for her company. Oh gosh, I can't remember what those dinners are called. Do you guys know? The low-cost healthy meals that she was selling on QVC. Anyway, she's heading this meeting and John comes in. And I guess she says that John, unlike David, is very, very supportive of her and her business. And he thinks she's got great ideas, unlike David. And also, John's daughter works for me. So she tells us in her confessional, I'm grateful for the whole John Jansen package. Oh, that didn't sound good. Really? Yeah, that didn't feel like an accident, Shannon. She does that all the time. Like, she thinks that we believe she's making all these very innocent and accidental sexual innuendos. And we don't think that, Shannon. We know they're very planned. Next, we are at a Mexican restaurant with Gina and Emily, and they're getting their drink on. They're doing shots. Emily is in a really good mood because it's after her hip surgery, and she feels good finally. I think she was probably living in pain for a long time, like longer than we realize. And now, it's like she has a new lease on life. They're so funny together, though, you guys. Emily's saying that her hip wants to have a shot. They're laughing about everything, and it felt good to watch this scene. It felt like they were really girlfriends. Gina tells Emily that she was playing tennis with Tamara that morning and that Tamara told her that Bronwyn was talking trash about her house. Gina says in her confession, if I had a fancy house in Newport or like a hookup to a club, then Bronwyn would be more interested in getting to know me. This is interesting because this whole episode has sort of a theme of Bronwyn being kind of snooty. And all last season, I didn't really get that impression. So I think it's kind of funny that we're just finding this out now. But like I said, they're getting drunk and they're funny. Emily's like, yeah, her house is 8,000 square feet. And Gina's laughing. She goes, wait, is it really 8,000 square feet? And Emily said, yeah. And she's like, oh my God, I'm renting an 8,000 square foot home. I'm an asshole. Who does that? And Emily goes, I know, it's just like taking $20,000 a month and ripping it up and throwing it in the trash. And Gina goes, yeah, I want 1,000 square foot per child. Emily goes, I don't even know where their money comes from. Does he even have a job? And Gina goes, hooker. And Emily goes, she's a hooker? Gina goes, no, he is. Emily goes, oh, that's what the condo is for. Transactions. And Gina goes, I can't imagine anybody sleeping with him with those necklaces. And Emily goes, you mean his immunity idol? You guys, he's so dumb, but like, this is what I want the show to get back to. It really is, right here. Talk trash about someone behind their back, but not in a way that destroys their entire family or causes them to lose their career or something like that. Nothing like the Denise Richards takedown. This, make fun of their house, make fun of their husband's necklace. That stuff is just so much more fun for the viewer at home. Anyway, Emily realizes that Bronwyn was trying to text her right then. And she's like, oh my God, while I was trash talking her, she was just trying to reach me. And Gina goes, cooler. Yeah, cooler now. So they call Bronwyn. And Emily said, I'm here with Gina. She wants to talk to you. So Gina's like, I heard you talking shit about me. How come? And Bronwyn's like, because of what you've been saying about my husband. And Gina acts like she doesn't know what that is. Bronwyn's like, did all that bleach go to your brain? Because you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I don't want to talk about it on the phone. if you want to come to my house or if you want me to come over to your house, I'd be happy to do that, but I'm not doing this on the phone. Click. She hangs up on her. Side note, do you guys know that Bronwyn and Sean are separated now in real life? Yeah. I just heard that. I don't know if that's going to be addressed on the show at all or if it really just happened. Unclear. Oh, side note too. Are we going to address the fact that Bronwyn has a brace on her knee? Because nobody said anything this entire episode. Anyway, now we see Bronwyn in her confessional. And she says, recently Tamara told me that Gina had showed her a text that Sean had sent her. Boy, Tamara doesn't have to be on the show to be evil, does she? Kind of makes it crystal clear that this is her real personality. If you were wondering at all whether she was just acting evil for the cameras and she was playing a part, no, apparently not. Also, Gina, you need to stop hanging out with Tamara. Anyway, Bronwyn didn't hear about the text until 6 months after it was sent. The text in question was from the night of that tea party that was Vicky's birthday party. Because now in Gina's confessional, she said, after we left the tea party, everybody was drinking. So Schwan helped me into an Uber. And I got home and I got this text. Now we see the text. Here's what it says. Hi, Gina. Just checking in. All is okay. Smiley face. Bronwyn is asleep, but I got her to the condo. Winking face. Anyway, have a good night, and it was great to spend some time with you. Smiley face. Immediately after that, the next text is, oh, this is Sean. Probably should have started with that. Smiley face emoji. Okay. Then we see the flashback to her showing it to Tamara, and Tamara's like, oh, you're the next threesome. And Gina's laughing, and she's like, no, I'm not. In her confessional, again, Gina said, maybe I took it out of context, but I'm allowed to think it's creepy. I mean, yes, you are allowed to. At first, just upon seeing it with zero context behind it whatsoever, it really seems innocent. It really does. But the fact that you know that the condo is their love shack and he feels like he needs to tell Gina that he took Bronwyn there first, and like, that's creepy. Also knowing that they're into threesomes and they almost sort of kind of were trying to recruit Tamara. Ew. If I were Gina, I would absolutely think they were trying to recruit me. I think knowing everything we know about them, that is creepy. Let me put it this way. If a man is helping his wife's friend get an Uber because she's too drunk to do it on her own, I can understand feeling concerned that she gets home okay, right? That she makes it home, that she's able to put the key in the door, all of that. You're kind of like hoping that all goes well. I totally would understand a text from him saying, hey, it's Sean, just checking that you got in okay. Why don't you give me a shout, let me know you're home safe. And that's it. But Bronwyn is asleep, but I got her to the condo first? Why are you telling her that? I don't know. It's a little red flaggy to me. Anyway, because Bronwyn hung up, Gina's like, call her back. I'm being accused of something. It's like a Blair Witch Hunt. Now that's either genius or she just like stumbled on something really funny, like to combine the Blair Witch Project with a witch hunt and call it the Blair Witch Hunt. I think that's kind of funny. So she gets her back on the phone and Bronwyn said, Tamara told me some stuff and I'm not too pleased. In Emily's confession cam, she said, apparently Tamara got a day off from her master, Lucifer, and she has come down to earth to tell Gina what's going on. Oh, she's like, she needs a hobby so that she can mind her own business and stay out of our lives. I think it's never going to happen. Also, I hate how much airtime Tamara is getting without being on the show. She just played tennis with Gina. She talks to Shannon almost every day. And a little bit later, there's something else, but let's go in order here. Again, Bronwyn tells her, I don't want to do this over the phone. And she said, and don't hide behind Emily's phone. Have the courage to call from your own phone next time, Gina. And she hangs up again. So Gina's like, I just didn't have my phone out of my pocketbook. Last year, they were like, come have sex with us. This year, it's like your house is too small. Okay, this next thing cracks me up because I don't know if it's to prove that Kelly and her mom have a great relationship now, but all it is Kelly on the phone with her mom, sitting in her closet, trying to pack everything up and complaining, I have too many shoes and too many sunglasses. We see Elizabeth and Bronwyn together and they go to a children's shop, and they're looking for gifts for Annabelle because it is Emily's daughter's birthday, and she has invited Elizabeth, and because Elizabeth's mother and brother and his two girls are in town, she said, bring the whole family, that's fine. And Elizabeth's like, oh, that's great, thank you. I mean, I love my family so much, but like, they're driving me crazy. They start having a conversation in the store. Elizabeth's dad was an alcoholic, and her mother was just like her rock. So she loves her mom. And then Bronwyn said that her dad died of alcoholism. And Elizabeth is like, oh, yeah, I mean, my dad too. Basically, because it kind of took over and his body, he was on life support, I think, and he was dying. And she was in San Francisco, and did she say Washington or Washington, D.C.? I don't know. I don't remember. But she couldn't get a flight to see in time to see him or something like that. And so they have a private jet. This was when she was married to the billionaire. So she called her husband at the time, and he was on a yacht with Steven Tyler. She told him, we have to get a jet. My dad is dying. And her husband chose to stay with Steven Tyler. Okay. I don't know how long ago that was, but it sounds like there may have been some red flags in that relationship sooner than the having a child with another woman. Anyway, Elizabeth ends that with, oh God, your dad, my dad. What is it with these alcoholics? So Bronwyn doesn't say anything. And in her voiceover, she said, I am like 14 days sober. I'm not ready to talk about this with anyone. And the only reason I told Emily is because she's the one that was calling me out on my drinking before. But I'm not ready to tell people yet. Then we see 2 hours later, Sean comes home from hooking, I don't know. And she's laying on the bed in their bedroom. And he's like, what's wrong? And she said, I'm having a really bad day. She wants to drink. She said, now, this can be interpreted two ways, and so I wasn't sure how she meant it, but she said, I hate that I made this choice and now I'm stuck in it. So initially, I took it to mean I made the choice to stop drinking and, tell some people that I think I'm an alcoholic. And now that she's like, it's getting hard, like physically and mentally getting hard to stay away from the alcohol. And I think she wishes that she never made the proclamation and the decision to quit drinking because she could just have a drink. But now she feels like, well, I decided I was going to stop. I told people, and now I feel like I have to do this, and now I'm stuck in it. But maybe when she said I made this choice and now I'm stuck in it, she means the choice to drink in the first place. I wasn't sure, but either way, my heart goes out to her. I feel like I can understand how hard it would be. Now we see 3 hours later, and she is dressed and ready to go out to dinner with Shannon. And Sean's like, all right, I'm here if you need me. It's going to be fine. Shannon's good. Shannon, it's going to be fine. She's like, okay. So she heads downstairs, and her daughter Rowan is there, and she said, Mama Deb called and told Tamara I stopped drinking. She is a winner, that Dr. Deb. Listen, this could have been either one of those two women, Deb or Tamara, because they are both evil and thirsty. But I imagine Tamara reached out to Dr. Deb to get her to spill some tea. That's what I think. Why are Tamara and Dr. Deb having phone conversations or getting together or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, Tamara, move on. You're not on the show anymore. And I doubt you're still on the show, Dr. Deb. So both of you, move along. As I'm sitting here, though, I bet you it's killing Tamra that she's not on anymore. I bet it's killing her. Even more than Vicky, I feel. I don't know. I feel like Vicky kind of has moved on. Whatever. Moving on. So now Bronwyn feels like she's being forced to come clean about being an alcoholic to the other ladies before she's ready to do it. Bronwyn said that it confirmed to her that her mother loves herself more than she loves her. Well, I could have told you that, Bronwyn. So Bronwyn leaves and she heads over to Shannon's to pick her up. And Bronwyn's actually driving, which I thought seemed a little weird to me. Like, it's not weird. It's totally normal in real life. But for a housewife, I thought it seemed a little weird. And then I was validated by the fact that Shannon came out of her house and she's like, we got a van? And then she goes, oh, you're driving. It's your car. So even Shannon was surprised. So Shannon gets in the car and Bronwyn is in a bad mood. And she has a headache, and she said, a lot's going on. So my mom told Tamra something that she shouldn't have. And when's the last time you talked to Tamra? And Shannon goes, I talk to her almost every day. And she's like, okay. So my mother told her something that she shouldn't have. I'm not really on a cleanse. Shannon gets the weirdest look on her face, like she's almost happy or something. And it was so weird. But then in her confessional, she goes, I pick up on things. I knew she wasn't not drinking because she was on a cleanse. There is no doubt in my mind that baby number 8 is on the way. Oh, no. She thinks she's pregnant. Oh, that's why Shannon looks like she's about to tell me something exciting. But Bronwyn's body language is not, there's no smiles, there's nothing like that because, of course, we know what she's about to tell her. So she's like, yeah, I'm not on a cleanse. And I'm sorry, I hate lying to you, but I wasn't ready to tell you yet. And Shannon goes, it's exciting. Oh, God. It's so cringy, you guys. Bronwyn goes, it's not actually. It sucks. It sucks, and I hate it. This isn't funny at all, but oh my God, could you imagine if she was pregnant and that was her reaction? Can you imagine being in Shannon's head? You think she's about to tell you she's pregnant again. And she, without joking at all, there's no humor in her voice at all, tells you, no, it's not exciting. It sucks. And I hate it. Oh, God. I'd be like, oh, my God. Now Shannon's smile is crumbling a little bit. She's more like she's confused. Bronwyn's like, I can't drink anymore. And Shannon goes, oh, I'm thinking it's something else. And Bronwyn goes, I know you think I'm pregnant. I'm not pregnant. I'm an alcoholic, I think. Yeah. She says, I'm an alcoholic, I think. It almost makes me want to hug her because this feels authentic to me. If this were a script in a movie, she would have said, I'm not pregnant. I'm an alcoholic. But to say I'm an alcoholic, I think, tells me that it's in her brain, she just still doesn't want to believe it. All the signs are there and she probably intellectually knows it, but she doesn't want to. And it just breaks my heart for her. Anyway, she tells Shannon, it's a story I wasn't quite ready to tell yet, but I just found out 10 minutes before I left to come pick you up that my mother told Tamra. And then she said, and this was the story that my mother was going to blackmail me with in New York. Uh-huh. If I didn't say that everything was a lie that I had said about my life on camera, my mother was going to tell everybody that I had a drinking problem. So they get to the restaurant now. The server comes and tries to take their drink order. And Bronwyn, I think, said, no, thank you. And Shannon said, no, I don't think so. And Bronwyn's like, no, don't do that. You can have a drink. And Shannon said, no, I don't want to. I really don't. I wasn't going to drink tonight. I really don't want anything. And she said, are you sure? Do you promise me you're going to treat me the same way? And she said, of course. You're not going to be different around me. And Shannon said, no, listen, I have been around this in my life. And Shannon tells her that she has gone to Al-Anon before and she's found comfort in being around others who are going through what she's going through. Bronwyn said that she thinks she might go to AA. But Shannon is telling her, I support you. I totally support you. And I won't tell anybody else, I promise. Now, I think she should have told her that she also confided in Emily, but maybe she did off camera or it got cut or something like that. And finally, we are at Emily's house for Annabelle's birthday party. Annabelle is turning 7 and she is so adorable, you guys. I love this kid. I follow Emily on Instagram. I don't hardly follow anybody. I don't even know why I follow Emily, but I do. And so there's a lot of pictures of the kids and and Annabelle she's the most photogenic little fashionista girl. I just think she's so cute. And she's like Emily's mini me. So she's turning 7 and it's like a cat theme. You guys, I'm recapping the very first season of Potomac on Mondays. Check it out if you're interested, even if you have never watched before. I never watched it before either, so I'm doing this for the first time. And I've only done a few episodes so far, so there's still time to catch up. But Ashley, one of the housewives on Potomac, she just had a birthday party too for her 27, so... she's only 20 years older than Annabelle, so I kind of get it now that I think about it. But both of them had the big kitty theme. Emily is telling Shane that both Bronwyn and Gina are coming to the party. And, things aren't great between the two of them. And she said that they were talking, she was out with Gina and they were talking about Bronwyn's drinking. And she said, I promised Bronwyn that I wasn't going to say anything about her not drinking and being an alcoholic. But every time Gina's like, she's drinking all the time. And I didn't know what to do. And Shane, you guys know when I agree with Shane, I have to admit it. And here he said, well, you promised her you wouldn't say anything, so you don't say anything. And I'm thinking, yeah, exactly. Me and Shane are of one mind yet again. But I guess Emily's point was, yes, I know, but then I have to be like, oh yeah, she drinks too much. It just felt wrong. Side note, with all the new houses we're seeing this season, there's something so comforting to me about seeing Emily's same old house that I know is familiar to me. Even though some horrible conversations have happened around that kitchen island they're standing at, I still felt some sense of comfort. Okay, the guests are arriving now. Elizabeth, her mom, her brother, her boyfriend Jimmy, and her nieces are all there. Bronwyn, Sean, and a few of their younger kids are there. And Gina's not there yet. So Emily takes this opportunity to kind of pull Bronwyn aside and chat with her a little bit about what she said about Gina, like criticizing her for having a small house. And Bronwyn's like, oh, well, Shannon said it too. Nice. Yeah, she said it was sad or pathetic. I don't know. And Emily goes, she said it was sad and pathetic? No, well, not both. One or the other. I don't remember which it was. But yeah, Shannon said that. She's the one that saw it in person, not me. Bronwyn. I get that she's detoxing, so I'm trying to cut her a little slack. But why throw Shannon under the bus? Anyway, Emily, in her confessional, she's like, I cannot stand someone shaming somebody else for what they have or what they don't have, or that they don't have as much money as you do. Like, that just really irks Emily. So she's kind of talking to her about it. And she said, listen, Gina went through a really rough year last year. And she came out of this and bought a place all by herself with her own money. And that's what she could afford. Anyway, now Gina arrives by herself. I don't know where her kids are. Maybe they're with Matt. Maybe they're coming later. I don't know. She goes out into the backyard and she says hello to Elizabeth. She's meeting her for the first time. And Sean and Bronwyn are sitting there and she says hello to them. Sean says hello. Bronwyn, nothing. You guys, I kind of love Gina and Elizabeth. I mean, they're just meeting for the first time, but I think they might get along well. They're chatting now. I think Elizabeth is eating some of the cake or cupcakes or something, and she tries to get one for Gina, and she's like, no, I gotta lose some of this weight. I used to be tiny, and just recently, I've gained so much weight all at once, and Elizabeth is like, you look great. So I like her. I like Elizabeth so far, and I think they could be friends. The way they were talking felt very natural to me and not forced at all, and kind of just like how women talk to each other. I think there's potential for a friendship there. Bronwyn ends up leaving early because she said, oh, I forgot one of my kids has a sleepover tonight. I don't know. Ordinarily, I would think that's just an excuse to leave early, but she has 74 children, and I can imagine with that many, you might forget when somebody has a sleepover. Anyway, before she goes, she says to Gina, am I going to see you? Like, can we talk at some point? And Gina's like, yeah. And she said, I didn't want to do it here because, it's a kid's birthday party. And Gina's like, oh, of course. Mom respect. In Gina's confessional, she said, I have a plethora of choice words for Bronwyn, all of which would get me kicked out of Shane's house. And on that note, we end episode 2. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also, if you could do me a favor and check to make sure that you are still subscribed, because a lot of people are telling me they have been unsubscribed and they didn't mean to be. So I don't know if YouTube is doing some house cleaning or something, but yeah, it's not great for little YouTubers like me. If you could just check real quick and make sure you're still subscribed. If you want to get a notification every time I have a new video come out, then go ahead and click on that bell while you're checking to see if you're subscribed. Also, before you leave, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. All of that engagement, leaving a comment and stuff is good for my channel, so I appreciate it very much. Thanks for hanging out with me and talking Housewives. It's fun for me. I hope it's fun for you. And I hope I see you next week for the next recap of The Real Housewives of Orange County. Bye.